Welcome back to the Aging Immaturely podcast. It's been 18 months since we've been on. I know we've gotten over time, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And now seems like the perfect time. Unfortunately, Jeff will not be joining me due to certain contractual obligations. He is not going to be part of the show. We have some special guests that will be coming on, but for you, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I will miss Jeff for one reason. The catering around here was much better when he was on the show. We used to have his bottle of seltzer and we used to have Costco water. Now I am down to my Yeti cup with water from the sink. And I've been watching a lot of these podcasts, and they're all sponsored by Liquid Death. Now, I don't have Liquid Death water, but I have a Liquid Death bottle. So if Liquid Death is listening and you guys want to sponsor us, we're here for you. We'll take it on. So anyway, we're not sure where, or I'm not sure where the direction of the show is going to go in the future. I know we are aging immaturely, but I think we're going to try to hit a younger demographic of people. We're going to have younger guests on to see what's going on with younger people and society right now. And my first guest that I'd like to bring on is my son, Max. Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know, the first guest on the new reboot of Aging Immaturely 2.0. So you had a good week.
Sure.
You can say why. I could tell by the hat.
Well, I don't know. Number 45 and 47 is back in the office.
Yes.
Big things coming out of there now. Yes. Extremely excited.
So let me ask you, how does it feel? Like, you're 19 years old now. You voted for the first time. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to do something, to vote, and be part of the American democracy, something that is very sacred in this country?
Yeah, it's definitely a big deal, especially now, especially winning as my first time voting is a big thing. I'm very proud to be a part of the Trump train, especially this year, because we are back. America is so back right now. I'm very excited.
Well, it's getting there. I mean, it's day 3?
It's only it's day 4, I think. Yeah, day 4. But I mean, we've seen already the amount of change. Literally day 1, 6 hours into his presidency, he signed, 10 or 15 executive orders? That's crazy. Most people are out at the presidential ball, and he was there signing orders.
So I know you're a Trump fan. There's been a little controversy. I mean, people are for Trump. People are not for Trump. So you got a little pushback from certain people. How did you defend voting for Trump and some of the misinformation or lies that the media was telling them, and then them saying to you? How did you feel about, that, and how did you defend yourself for voting for him?
Well, I mean, I always go off of the point of logic. The fact that I always ask people, why are you voting for Kamala? And you cannot say, because you can't say anything Trump related, okay? You have to tell me why you're voting for Kamala. And there was never really a clear answer. And then they asked me and then I'll say why I'm voting for Trump. Well, when Trump was around, taxes were lower, the gas prices were lower, inflation was lower. My groceries, are you kidding me? I spent $75 on 4 items at Whole Foods at school.
Why are you going to Whole Foods?
Why am I going to Whole Foods? Because they have good vegetables. I'm going to be honest, they have good stuff. But it comes at a premium, and it's very expensive. I mean, even at what's it called? I go to Trader Joe's sometimes. Those prices are also absurd.
How are you?
Trader Joe's is low end. Trader Joe's is not that expensive.
I don't
expensive.
go to Trader Joe's.
I don't go anywhere.
No, I do.
Sure, you go.
I eat 4 things, so it's not like a big deal.
Fine, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I got to tell you, I wasn't. You know what? Coming into after 2020. I was not in for Trump 47.
Mm-hmm.
It was not my guy. And
to be fair, I wanted DeSantis. I wanted DeSantis in the beginning, but he didn't poll too well, and I was really surprised by that, especially from Republican voters. I really thought they were going to push DeSantis more, but Trump has that fight in him. Even before he got shot, everybody's like, that Trump train. Like, he is the one.
Well, I wasn't into him until the FBI went through Melania's underwear drawer. That's when I decide. But you saw what happened with DeSantis. He was, or the media saw that if it wasn't going to be Trump, it was going to be DeSantis. And you saw what the media did to him in terms of going after him. So
Yeah.
yes, he could have had good policies, whatever. But you saw the attack right away of how this media attacks the candidate or attacks a
Yeah.
Republican candidate,
Just look
and
at
the
Rachel
lies
Maddow.
that were coming.
Just
Oh,
watch
God.
Rachel. I can't watch her. She's so painful to watch. It's actually crazy.
Well, now they're making her work 5 days a week for
Oh
her
no.
$20 million. Yeah.
She makes
You know,
$20
she's
million.
$20 million a
Shit.
year. She was working once a week, and now she's got to work 5 days a week for her $20 million.
That's
I know,
crazy.
but you see it. You see what's going on with the legacy media. And I think when he came in, the fact that he got reelected, I mean, they threw everything at him, the media, and to try to prop up Kamala, that the American people really, or at
The American
least,
people were being lied to. Straight up.
yeah,
They were being lied to about Joe's mental decline. They were being lied to about that Kamala knows what she's doing. She had no clue. When something would come up about like policy or what are you going to do for the economy? I grew up in a middle class household. We used to go to the corner store for our groceries. That doesn't answer the question.
no, that doesn't give policy.
That doesn't give any policy. Trump is like, I'm going to start the ERS, the External Revenue Service. And so far that's brought in what I've heard is $2 trillion in the first like 3 days. And the fact that they're bringing $500 billion in for an AI program, that their investment thing that's being run by the three major tech firms in the country. By
Well,
Meta,
that's not the real.
Elon.
That's not the real AI.
No?
No, aging immaturely is the real AI.
Oh, okay, fine.
I'm sorry about that. But no, but he is what he's trying to do in terms of AI. It's a major thing. I think it's going to be the Industrial Revolution 3.0. We had the first Industrial Revolution, we had the .com Industrial Revolution, and now we're having the AI Industrial Revolution. And if we get behind on that, we're done as a country, because AI is going to be leading the world, and we have to be the leaders in that. In terms of technology, it's got to come from the US and not China or our enemies, or we're going to be beholden to everybody else in the rest of the world.
Yeah. I won't lie, AI kind of scares me a little bit now that I'm in college and looking for jobs in the future. I feel like it's really able to take over anything.
Well, it's still, you got to harness the power of AI, and we don't know where it's going, and we don't know where it's going to be. And it is very dangerous technology, but
It's
what it can
extremely
do,
dangerous.
but what it's going to do, or what it can do for mankind, is going to be incredible. I mean, the fact that people are going to live longer, people are going to be healthier, or we're going to be able to detect diseases quicker.
Yeah,
because of AI, and it's going to be it's going to
insane.
be a game changer.
The way that they describe how fast AI is even makes no sense. The fact that it can solve 44 trillion problems in 1 second, that just doesn't even make sense to me. But I am scared.
I know I could only do 43 trillion.
One thing I am scared about is, I don't know if you saw this report a couple weeks ago. They shut down ChatGPT for a little bit, and it started to re-upload itself. And they didn't give it that function, but it decided to do it itself. It's going to learn. Well, it knows. It's going to have, once it gets feelings, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's where you got to have the plug.
Yes.
You got to have that plug and unplug that computer.
Yep.
So you're a college student, and I wanted to talk about something very serious. So you're in high school, and you're from the COVID generation. You missed about a year and a half in school, give or take?
Let's say 2.
Okay. All right. Then you go off to college. You're very excited. 6 weeks later, October 7th happens.
Yeah.
And traditionally, when Israel is in a conflict, it's a two-front war.
Yeah.
Because you have the war on the battlefield, and then you have the war of public opinion.
Sure.
Now there's a third war going on.
It's the college campus war.
It's not only the college campus war, it's the TikTok war.
Sure.
And that information.
I don't know if you saw today, or as of yesterday, now that TikTok is owned by the U.S. government, I guess.
It's
right?
not yet.
Not yet, but it's somewhat in the hands of it. And
Still not yet.
Yeah, okay, but you can put, if you type
they're
free
on a 6.
if you type free Palestine into a comment section, it says no, you cannot post this anymore.
Okay, so there's a little more control, but I've also noticed since it went off for those 2 days or however long it came back,
it was 6 hours, barely
6 hours. I think there's been a change in the algorithm because the stuff that I'm seeing is not what I was seeing previously. So
okay,
it's
I don't have TikTok, so I can't really speak on behalf of that.
I do.
Yeah.
But okay, so anyway, going back to what happened.
Yeah.
So the IDF is fighting on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Young Jewish men and women.
Not even
and now
Jewish.
You guys, but
there's that.
Okay, yes. But now you guys are fighting a war on campus.
Yes, we are.
So how did that make you feel? All of a sudden, you're at school 6 weeks, the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
And now you guys, Jewish students, are being targeted on campus.
To be fair, there was something in my head that told me I had to start. So I started a program, for the listeners that don't know. I started a program called Morning Mitzvah, and what we would do is we'd rap tefillin in front of the hate speech that people leave on campus. What tefillin is, it's a Jewish prayer in the morning that men say, and they pray for, they thank God for having me wake up in the morning. You thank God for your health, and you pray for the day ahead of you. You pray for the soldiers in the IDF, the hostages being held captive, all of that. And what we also did is, while we were standing in front of the hate speech on campus, this is in a place called Freedom Square, where you could write whatever the hell you want. So there's from the river to the sea, fuck the Jews, swastikas. I mean, you name it, there's been on the board. And another thing that we did is we were there in the middle of the campus. So we were there to educate people as well. So yeah, somebody would say free Palestine while they walk past us, but we go, okay, show me that on a map. Oh, I can't do that. Well, let me show you. Let me teach you a little bit. And we come in with a different perspective.
Were they open and most people?
I won't say most people.
Okay.
I'd say some.
Because I met a lot of people during this time, and I don't want to use the word, or I don't know if it's right, uneducated, but uninformed.
Mm-hmm. Uninformed and closed-minded.
They thought, not necessarily closed-minded. I met a lot of people, and they were just not sure of really what's going on, of the history of the region.
Yeah.
So, and they were oh, I didn't know that. But do you feel like, out of the people that were attacking you, do you feel like a lot of them, what percentage would you say were really anti-Semitic, or just uninformed, or just needed to be part of the group? Because the second you saw Queers for Palestine, you knew that
they're uneducated.
Not uneducated,
uninformed.
But when you see Queers for Palestine, you kind of know, okay, all of a sudden, it's not necessarily anti-Semitic tropes. It's just people that are. It's the what. I'm losing it for a second. It's been a long day. The oppressor.
I was just about to say oppressed versus oppressor.
There was so actually, it didn't matter. It wouldn't matter if it was whoever.
No, because I can
whoever
explain.
Was, but it was just the fact that these people are now. The oppressors are taking it out on the oppressed, even though the Palestinians started the war.
Yeah, I was in a Hebrew class my first semester of college, and I'm going to be honest, it was, I'd say 95% Jewish, that class. There was one girl who was there, and she enjoyed the hell out of it. But there was this other girl who, I mean, I can't even explain how liberal she was. Blue hair, the weirdest makeup I've ever seen, clothes that don't even... Maybe she was wearing a Halloween costume one day. It was crazy. But she's Jewish, right? And there's this one time where this girl who, her family, in our class, her family was killed during October 7th because Hamas terrorists stood on top of their house and shot bullets through the
And she was in your class?
And she was in my class.
Okay.
And when this other girl was like whispering, the liberal one, when she was whispering, oh, it didn't happen, like, because our teacher was talking about October 7th during the class, and she's like, oh, it didn't happen. And this other girl went off on her, and she's like, it did, because my family members are dead because of it. And
what was that? How do you respond? How could she respond to that?
She responded and then left. That's what they do.
There
They flake.
really is no
They flake because
response.
they don't have a response for it. It's oppressed for suppressor. I mean, the same thing's happening when because I mean, my program Morning Mitzvah, it's not all
Right.
nice people that are saying like, can you explain this to me? Also, people come up to us and they yell fuck the Jews, they harass people, they do things that are against student conduct, and then when you bring it to the student conduct, and
That's what I,
it doesn't even get sent to student conduct, it goes straight to DEI and then to student conduct. So they do the oppressed versus
well,
oppressor.
I wanted to ask you because I know we've had or you've both of us
Yeah.
have had an experience with DEI. DEI, President Trump signed the executive order getting rid of DEI, getting rid of DEI in college campuses, getting rid of DEI in.
Does it get rid of them on college campuses? Or is it just
supposed
federal?
to. No, it's any school that's taking federal dollars is supposed to get rid of the DEI. And
We could bleep her name,
personally,
Patricia Bradley.
well, we've personally had a bad experience with DEI. And
Yeah.
through all the years of listening to all these college campuses, safe spaces for everybody, and then it went to the DEI office, and the DEI office basically turned their back on us, on the Jewish students, offering absolutely no protection, no safe space, nothing for that. How was that? Like you getting rejected? You've been you've been in there college like 2 months when this was coming up, and all of a sudden the college basically turns its back on you.
Can I add something to that really quick?
Sure.
So whenever there was a big anti-Semitic event or any anti-Semitic event on campus, I'd walk straight into the administration building. I'd go talk to student conduct, DEI, and there was this one time, and the president of the university as well, but there was this one time that I spoke to the dean of students. And what he told me, he said, in order for me to do anything about anti-Semitism on our campus, somebody needs to be assaulted or killed. And when I heard that, I thought that was crazy. The fact that somebody needs to die or there needs to be blood on your hands in order for someone to do something is absurd.
But anybody else,
I swear, if I said something about LGBT,
any other minority or any other group, right?
Yeah, and my campus is 65% minority.
Right.
So the fact that the Jews were actually even more of a minority group on our campus compared to the other groups, and you're saying that because I'm a white Jew and they're something else, I'm the oppressor.
And they didn't do anything.
Nothing.
And they were able to leave up in the college dorms from the river to the sea, and we complained and nobody did anything about it.
Yep, exactly.
And then I remember towards the end of the semester, which I thought was a great discussion, to a point.
Sure.
But when they had people coming up to the mic, well, it was a divestment.
Boycott, divestment, sanctions.
Which isn't going to go anywhere. We know that.
Yeah. It's actually illegal.
But the fact, but they had, when you guys went up to the mic and everybody was able to voice their opinion on both sides.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying one side, on both sides, and to have discussions, I thought was great. Unfortunately, what I didn't think was great was the Jewish students were there having to defend themselves for being Jewish.
Yeah.
And that's what it really came down to, because the boycott is not just the boycott against Israel. It's a boycott against the Jewish students that are on that campus.
Yeah. If the boycott was to go through, which it didn't, and it's illegal to go through, we would have lost our kosher spot on campus. So that means Jewish students, I don't know where I'm not kosher particularly, but other people are. Where would they go to eat? Do they still have to pay for a dining plan if they can't eat anywhere? You're trying to literally get rid of my way of life because you think that this certain thing is happening in another country. And what's even more funny is that these people weren't even protesting things on campus. There's literally no acts of Islamophobia on my campus. Yet they were talking about the most strange things about the war. This one guy, we were all talking about our personal experiences of being hate crimed on campus. Right. And this one guy was talking about the climate change effects from the bombs. on how the smoke in the atmosphere is bad from the bombs. Like, no
Really?
shit, it's bad, but that's what you're going to bring up at this conversation? And the fact that this other person was talking about kneecapping, I was like, we're not doing this to you on campus. I'm fighting for my right to be a Jew on campus and my self-identification. And yet you're fighting for something that's happening in another country that doesn't have anything to do with things happening on campus.
But afterwards,
I don't get it.
like, so you go through all this. So afterwards, is it awkward now to walk on campus and see people? What's your feeling like walking around campus these days? I know things have calmed down. You didn't have encampments. It wasn't as bad as Columbia or UCLA or other universities.
Yeah.
But what did it do to the student body now that you walk across campus and see people that you know are outwardly Jew haters?
Yeah. I'm going to talk about my perspective also. From my friend's perspective, in some ways, yes, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
From my perspective, it's a little bit more, just because I've headlined the national news 3 to 4 times last year. I speak on public forums. I've spoken on 400-person panels in front of people and whatnot. My face is out there, to say the least. And I have seen in the past that they do know who I am, especially the fact that this one time I was in the library and somebody said, I recognize you. I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, first off, no, you don't. And then I walked away because
you don't want to get into it.
I don't want to get into it. I don't know how they know me. I don't know what they know me from. And I don't want to do that. I also carry pepper spray on campus because of the situation. And every time I walk somewhere, I'm always looking behind me at night, especially walking home from the library. So yeah, it is scary, even if it's not a big deal. And when I say not a big deal, I mean like there's no encampments and they're not blocking me from getting into my classes.
Right. But there's still a lasting
still
impression.
A presence. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you see people wearing keffiyehs to class. They don't even know what it means or what it is.
So are they Muslim or
they're
are
fat
they
white
Palestinian?
Women. Yeah.
Okay. So they're and some lesbian white women, which if they went to Palestine,
they'd probably be thrown
or
off
Gaza,
a building
they'd be thrown off
a
building.
Yeah.
But it's more important to wear the keffiyeh.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. And you had the opportunity a couple months in. You met with Miguel Cardona, then the Secretary of Education.
I did.
And you expressed what was going on. Did anything ever come about that, or it's just like a dog and pony show?
It was a photo op. Completely. But I was able to voice my opinion to him, and the reporters caught on to that, and that's how I was able to voice my opinion nationally.
So something did come out of it, but just not anything from the federal government.
No. And I also, this September, I had the chance to go to the Republican Jewish Coalition in Vegas. I was brought there by the Alavi family who paid for all of us to go. And I was able to meet Republicans like Tim Scott, Speaker of the House was there. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Of Emily Austin was there. She's not a Republican, but Frank Lutz.
Well, she voted for Trump. She was at the inauguration.
Not a Republican, but not like a representative or a member of the House.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but she's a conservative.
And Elon Carr is apparently a big fan of me, which is crazy. Elon Carr was Trump's advisor for anti-Semitism in 2016 to 2020. And I had a really cool interaction with him because I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. And I went up to him to go shake his hand. And he's like, Max Zimmerman, I know who you are. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy.
Watch the cursing.
Okay, fine. Did we not curse on this show?
No, we do fucking curse, but then I get backlash for it. That's
okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. We're aging immaturely. We're a little bit immature here. Anyway.
That's all right. It's a serious topic.
Yeah. So I'm also, for my fraternity, I'm on the international board, and he was at the vote, and I didn't even know he was in AEPI or at the vote, which is so cool. And that's how he recognized me, which I was just like, holy wow. I also met the wealthiest woman on the planet, got to talk to her about what's happening on campus. Her name is Michelle Adelson. She owns the Sands Corp, which owns the Palazzo, Venetian, a couple hotels in Singapore, China, everywhere. Insane. So even if that meeting with Cardona, he didn't get anything out of it, or he didn't do anything with it, I still got to talk to those reporters, get my opinion out there, and then that got me elsewhere. So I do think something did come of it.
But just not what you had hoped. You
No.
really you felt so being a Jewish student, you really felt that the university turned its back on you, and really the federal government to a point turned its back on you.
Absolutely.
And they should have been leaders. And because people will take their cues from the government, not from the, I hate to say the government, but their leaders. So if the leaders are going to act one way, then that's the way people are going to react to what's going on. I mean, it was really to allow, as far as some of these encampments went, Columbia and other schools, I mean, it was crazy how far they let this go.
Yeah.
And the damage that's really been done.
It's absurd. I don't know if you saw, but they're marching into Jewish classrooms now. There was
Again,
a Israel studies course because people
at Columbia a few days
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
And they were I don't even know what they were doing. This one girl had a camera and she was filming somebody speaking into a microphone about the oppressors and the Israelis, and they were passing pamphlets out in a classroom. And it's just like, what does that even accomplish? Like, you're just disrupting a classroom and saying random shit. What are you getting at? Like, what's the point? There's some things that I'm like, what's the point of even any of this? Because I don't get it personally.
Well, this is their way of getting their point across, unfortunately, or fortunately, that this is what's going on. And at the end of the day, you hope that people are going to take, or whoever is going to be hiring these people in the future, take a look at what they're getting.
But the issue is that they cover their faces. And they wear sunglasses and all that.
See, that's why you have AI to recognize the face of the people.
Yeah, and thank God Trump is now deporting the international students that are doing these things. It's basically tyranny.
I don't think anybody that's here on a student visa, that's in the middle of the street, that is protesting on behalf of Hamas, to me is a terrorist and should not be in this country and should be deported. You have the privilege of coming to the United States and studying here on our land. Show a little respect.
Yeah, also a lot of what they're protesting is anti-Western values.
Yes.
They're burning American flags. If you want to burn American flags, do it in your own country. Don't come here and then say that you want to stay even longer. Get out. I just don't get it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So what are you hoping now that Trump's in? What are you hoping for the future or the next few years? And the crazy thing is that he's the one that's showing normalcy.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you, I'm impressed with, and this is a whole nother topic or a whole nother show. I think the best thing that happened to Donald Trump was that he lost the 2020 election and came back, because Trump 2.0 is not Donald Trump in 2020.
No, not even close. Yeah. What I'm looking for, and I'm so excited, honestly, to see the fact that he's cutting federal funding for schools if they have encampments and these protests. That's awesome. I get to be myself again on campus. And people are going to argue, well, these people are being themselves on campus. They're not, first off, because majority of them are not even Muslim. Also, they're standing up for a cause that's so, excuse my French, fucked up. The fact that they're literally throwing people off buildings if they disagree, and yet you are like agreeing with this. I'm so happy that Trump is getting rid of that. Get them out of here. Deport them. Send them back to Gaza. Let's do a birthright program to Gaza. I'd put up all of my money if I could send a couple of those kids to Gaza. And then, I don't know if we would give them the flight home, because I don't know if there's a flight home. But I'm so excited to go back. Cutting federal funding is going to pressure the schools to do what's actually right. It's going to pressure the schools to go back to their student conduct rules. Because I used to go into these board meetings with the student conduct, the president, and DEI, and I'd show them, these are your school policies.
Rules. It's right on the website.
This is public information, literally on the website, and you're not following any of them.
No, we went through it. I went through it line by line with your DEI office, and it just went nowhere. Well, when she picked up the phone, and we got a standard, standing letter back that was meaningless. Max, thank you very much for being on the show.
Of course.
I appreciate it. We're going to be coming back. I don't know if this is going to be weekly or how often, But Aging Immaturely is back. Find us on YouTube. This was our first ever YouTube podcast.
We made it.
Our first video stream. Yeah, now we're dominating all of media.
Yeah.
We're dominating all of media. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.